The cruelest scams do not steal from strangers, they study loneliness until it opens the door. Some victims lost savings, homes, even the names of people they trusted. And the worst part is, a few of the voices sounded like family. Number 10. Keno Romario Brown's Maryland lottery scam. The letter tells you that you won. Then comes the red flag. Pay taxes or fees first, by check or wire, before the prize can be released. That is advance fee lottery fraud. And in Maryland federal court, it put Keno Romario Brown of Hyattsville in prison. Brown was 26 years old. He used mail and wire communications to target elderly people across the United States with fake lottery and sweepstakes claims. The prize was the bait. The upfront payment was the business model. More than 100 elderly victims were defrauded, and the losses topped $775,000. Brown was convicted on March 12, 2020, and sentenced in January 2021 to 8 years in federal prison. No lottery check was coming. The only real money was the money victims sent out. Next, the same advance fee trap moves from fake prizes to fake relationships. Number 9. Sherwayne Benjamin Belinfante's Arizona Lottery Romance Scheme. On May 20th, 2026, Sherwayne Benjamin Belinfante, also known as Iceman, pleaded guilty in Arizona federal court. Prosecutors said the Jamaican national had been extradited to the United States in a lottery and romance scheme that targeted an elderly Arizona resident. The mechanics were blunt. The victim was told to mail funds across the United States and send money to different runners, while conspirators kept the pressure up with flowers delivered to her residence and love messages attached. That is the tell. You are not looking at a prize claim alone. You are looking at a prize claim used to keep the victim emotionally engaged while the money moved. The romance layer did not soften the fraud. It made the extraction easier. The next case shows the same play with a faster payoff request and less room to breathe. Number 8. Solomon Agosa Wilfred's Coon Rapids Romance Fraud. In Coon Rapids, Minnesota, Solomon Agosa Wilfred used fake identities to keep the pressure moving, posing as a senior U.S. diplomat and a military official, while targeting mostly elderly victims. The operation ran through more than 400 victim packages, and each one pushed the fraud deeper. On November 17, 2023, the 43-year-old was sentenced to 36 months in prison and ordered to pay $1,356,995 in restitution. Here is the red flag you would notice. A supposed diplomat or service member who stays urgent, affectionate, and always just far enough away to demand another package, another transfer, another step. 400 packages is not romance. It is a delivery system for deception. And next, the scam stops waiting for the mail and sends someone to the door. Number 7. Dominican Republic Grandparent Scam Courier Case. By 2024, the grandparent scam had a Dominican Republic call center pipeline and a New Jersey federal case behind it. Prosecutors described callers posing as grandchildren, lawyers, court officials, or other legal system employees, all pushing the same emergency script. Your grandchild has been arrested or hurt in an accident. Do not call the parents. Do not check with anyone. Get cash now. That secrecy was the red flag you would notice because real legal help does not need isolation to work. The charging records say couriers collected money from elderly victims or moved the proceeds after the calls did their damage. One admitted courier was not some random street pickup. She was a former Social Security Administration employee, the exact kind of government-adjacent insider that makes a fake legal crisis sound more believable. The calls came from overseas. The cash moved by hand. That was the machine. Number 6. San Diego Nationwide Grandparent Scam. An older person opens the door with an envelope of cash because the voice on the phone said a grandchild was in jail and bail had to be paid now. That was the script federal prosecutors in San Diego described when they unsealed a January 2021 indictment charging Christopher Durant and 7 other defendants in a nationwide grandparent fraud enterprise. The case ran through San Diego County with victims across the country. Here is the red flag you would notice. The caller says do not contact anyone else. No parent, no spouse, no real court clerk. Isolation is the tool. Once the victim is scared and alone, the alleged operation sends a courier or driver to the home to pick up the cash. Prosecutors said elderly victims lost millions of dollars. The call manufactured the crisis. The courier collected the money. This scam did not just reach into a bank account, it walked up to the front door. Number 5. Frederick Kumi's $8 million romance fraud ring. Worse still, after the scam reached the front door, the next sound is quieter, the soft ping of a dating message that turns loneliness into a ledger. From here, the back half gets darker, because the target is no longer one frightened grandparent at a time. In a United States federal case in Ohio dated July 14, 2026, prosecutors allege that 31-year-old Ghanaian national Frederick Kumi helped run a romance fraud operation that took more than $8 million from more than 80 elderly victims. The dossier says he also used the names Emmanuel Kojo Ba Obeng and Abu Trika, a red flag you would see as shifting identities behind the same emotional script. The alleged playbook was patient and intimate: profile photos, dating site messages, online affection, then requests for money. This was romance used as infrastructure, and the next case turns that extraction into something even more relentless. Number 4. Daniel James Bolte, Iowa's human vacuum cleaner. The next warning sign was not a stranger on the phone. It was a familiar man in the driveway. Federal prosecutors said Daniel James Bolte worked rural Iowa seniors from Harlan to Council Bluffs between the 2000s and 2013, targeting elderly widows and isolated people who needed help close to home. His entry point looked harmless: odd jobs, rides, a friendly presence. Then the favors became access. Property, vehicles, farm equipment, and bank funds started moving out of victims' hands and into his reach. One elderly woman had her home life and finances drained after Bolte inserted himself into her daily routine. Here's the red flag you would notice: the scam did not feel like pressure at first. It felt like dependence. Federal prosecutors charged him with fraud-related crimes after victims lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. This was not distance fraud. This was proximity used as a weapon. Number 3. John Michael Gatchell's Virginia Beach marriage scheme. A marriage certificate became the weapon. In Virginia Beach, Virginia, John Michael Gatchell, 55, pleaded guilty on April 18, 2019, after prosecutors said he married an elderly woman with failing mental faculties and took nearly $157,000 from her. The scheme was not a fake call or a prize pitch. It was legal paper used as cover. Gatchell and his longtime girlfriend arranged the marriage, then used the husband role to move closer to the victim's money and her ability to resist. That is the red flag here. The document looks ordinary. The power underneath is not. Once the marriage gave him standing, access, and a cleaner story, the theft could hide in plain sight. Number 2. Eric C. Kahn Social Security Disability Fraud. Eric C. Kahn made disability claims look approved before anyone asked the hard questions. In eastern Kentucky and West Virginia, the attorney built one of the largest Social Security disability fraud schemes in United States history. The red flag was the pattern. Administrative law judge David B. Daugherty approved case after case, while Kahn used bribes and falsified medical evidence to push claims through. Doctors supplied false documentation. Daugherty rubber-stamped approvals. Kahn collected fees from the system built to protect disabled workers. The fraud was exposed in the 2010s, and the broader scheme involved more than $550 million in fraudulent lifetime disability benefits. Then, the damage moved to the people least able to absorb it. Vulnerable and disabled claimants, including older adults, faced reviews, suspended payments, and fear of losing basic income. Kahn cut off his electronic monitor, fled before sentencing, and was later captured outside the United States. His clients were left inside the wreckage. Number 1. National Prearranged Services Funeral Fraud. A family walks into a funeral home believing every detail is already paid for. The casket, the vault, the embalming, the service. Then the bill appears anyway. That was the betrayal behind National Prearranged Services, a St. Louis, Missouri company that sold prepaid funeral contracts for years before collapsing in 2008. Many buyers were older adults planning their own funerals, trying to spare their families one last crisis. The money was supposed to go into trusts or life insurance policies. Prosecutors said insiders siphoned it through affiliated companies instead, with Randall Sutton Cassidy among the key figures. Investigators tied roughly $600 million to the fraud, affecting tens of thousands of people. Federal sentences followed from 2013 to 2015, including a 10-year sentence for Cassidy. Another promise of protection became a private extraction machine. Families paid for peace of mind, then got the invoice.